Hey guys, so tonight I want to talk about how we are all creators. All of us are creator beings. And oftentimes we tend to discredit people who are creating drama, but they're still creating, they're still manifesting. No one is above anyone else. That old game of I'm better than you or you're not vibrating as high as me and all of that is still rooted in a duality reality. Duality reality meaning that it's competitive, there's hierarchy. That's all old stuff. Okay, as we start to merge with our higher selves, we start seeing how beautiful all creations are and how everyone is experiencing a valid experience. To them, they're making valid choices. They're calling forward the very thing that they need to either deconstruct in the reality, meaning dismantle. So an example of that would be if someone likes to spin drama webs. So their egoic aspect, their lower dimensional aspect, is creating all that drama unconsciously. All right, but they're still manifesting drama. Okay, they're setting a fire here and setting another fire over there, and it's chaotic and it's this tornado of all this melodrama. But they're operating from their best capacity. They're doing the best that they can. Just like their unconscious aspect is bringing that drama forward, there's always the higher self. And we have to remember the higher self is always working on a soul level. So what you attract is so that you can eventually get tired of it or say, you know what, I'm so tired of this dramatic lifestyle. And then you're forced to collapse that reality. So usually if we're consciously creating, meaning we are intentionally creating, deliberately creating, we are pretty much building new foundations, and light is the substance of all of that. So you're building new worlds with love and purity and intention, and those realities will usually stick around because you're consciously producing, you're consciously manifesting. And then usually we will unconsciously create the very thing that our higher selves will eventually, our higher aspect of who we are will eventually say, I'm tired of this. And then you break down that reality and you automatically and instantly move into a higher reality that serves your higher self. But the main purpose of this video is to say that we are all creators, all of us. And your words are really like the paintbrush on the canvas. So as you speak, you create. Okay? So if you wake up in the morning and you're moping and groaning and blah, 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 you're going to perpetuate that cycle. It's like being caught in a loop. And the universe is going to let you get away with that until you get fed up. And eventually we come out of stubbornness and we say, all right, how's this working for me? And I love asking that to people. How's that working for you? And if all it's doing is inviting this lack, this need, this fear, and all these unconscious programs, then it's up to us to step up to the plate and say, I am going to be responsible for what it is that I keep magnetizing into my life, for what it is that I keep inviting into my reality, and say enough is enough. But don't discredit people who are creating drama because they're having to create it to have that reflection, right? They're having to create the drama to eventually say, oh my God, like I don't want this anymore. So sometimes we create unconsciously so that we can consciously say, I don't want this anymore. And that we can also kind of, we do that in relationships as well. We will unconsciously attract partners that are not for our best selves, that are not for our highest good, to eventually say, I don't want this anymore. And in a way, you kind of say, I'm going to deactivate the portal of that reality. I'm done with that reality. And you fully abandon that reality. All right. I don't love the word abandon because I have abandonment issues. A lot of us do, or we have in past lives. But in a way, you're dropping that old karmic energy. And you're saying, you know what? I'm ready for the new stuff. I'm ready for the good stuff. I'm ready for the stuff that's going to enrich my experience here. I'm ready for the stuff that's going to nourish my soul. So pay attention to what comes out of your mouth, because that's truly, truly painting the canvas. People ask me all the time for practical ways, and the most practical I can get is pay attention to your words. If you're saying, oh, I don't understand why this isn't working out, I don't understand why I haven't met my soulmate yet, you're not really being kind to yourself. You're still thinking in a finite way. All right. The universe is infinite. It is not finite. So whenever you ask things like, why hasn't this happened yet? When is this going to happen? You're still speaking linearly. You're still speaking from that third dimensional perception. Your higher self, which is always floating above you, would never say that. Your higher self would observe that you want to say it, right? So you would observe that you want to say this. That's why observance, right? Examining your thoughts is so important so that you can reorganize them. All right. You want to colonize your mind with good thoughts. You want to colonize your mind with angelic thoughts. I think of thoughts as like angels or demons. So if you're having negative thoughts, all right, and you feed into that story of why haven't I met my soulmate? Why aren't these people showing up for me? Why didn't they pick me up from the airport? I'm so mad at them. If you keep feeding into that story, all you're doing is you're giving food. You're truly feeding parasites. You're feeding spiritual parasites. You're feeding low vibrational parasites. Or you can just call them parasitic entities. I like to call them dark entities. So as long as you're feeding into the old story of this person did that to me, and you play the pity game or the blame game, then you're going to keep feeding these dark entities, and they're going to keep you from experiencing the fullness of who you are, that light that you are. They don't want you to actualize your full potential. The dark entities want to keep you in that lower mind consciousness, because light is the very thing that they don't want, because it exposes them, and then they have to flee. They don't like the light. So if you start living in your full light, if you start being that beacon, if you start being that lighthouse, all right, the more we come together and unify as one, and we support each other, and we assist each other on this journey, the more light is going to be transmitted out into the universe, and then the darkness can't exist anymore. Okay? So the dark entities are going to try to keep you from achieving that higher state of consciousness. So when you speak negatively, just know that you're feeding something, because your energy always goes somewhere. It always goes somewhere. It doesn't go to no land. It goes somewhere. It's either going to the kingdom of darkness or the kingdom of light. So you have to be very mindful of the energy, the words, which are energy, that are coming out of your mouth. And then if you're wanting to get mad at someone, if you're wanting to get defensive or combative, check yourself. And be like, wait, have I done this before? Chances are you have, so you're just repeating a pattern. Or do I want to now remap my patterning? Do I want to rewrite the story? All right? And we can only do that if we hold ourselves responsible for what it is that we attract into our realities. We can only do that if we're responsible enough and if we hold ourselves accountable. Okay? You can truly take your power back from all those dark entities, all right? And dark entities is just what I'm using right now to kind of share how there's like the old earth mentality or the old earth mindset, the third dimensional mindset of like poor me, or this person did that to me, meaning villainizing them. And then in a way shifting out of that reality and into a reality of unity, of unifying with your higher self, unifying with those higher aspects of who you are, so that you can live in those higher realities, which is already upon us, really. I mean, Earth has already ascended. So if you're feeling a lot of stuff come up in your everyday life, a lot of that muck that's emerging from within you and up, it's so that it can be released, because New Earth is trying to purify you. New Earth is trying to cleanse all that stuff out of your vibrational field. That's what it's trying to do. And that's why the old way of existence, the old way of being, isn't going to work anymore. It's not going to work for any of us. And that's why we're being called to really, really level up and step into being those anchors of light. All right? Making a difference and contributing to these higher realities. The more that we do that, the less darkness can exist. Sorry, there's a phone here. I have to learn how to. I have to work on how to turn that off. So that's the idea. We want to really start being mindful of everything that comes out of your mouth, because it starts as a thought, and a thought is a frequency, and then you start to emit that frequency through your words, and when you speak, that hits your physical reality. It hits your physical reality. When you have a thought, it may not hit the physical reality. It may hit the astral realm, all right? But when you speak it, it means you've been energizing that thought so much so that it's now ruling your kingdom, and it's pretty much using you as a marionette, as a puppet, to keep getting your energy. So someone might be like, oh, I think I want to watch porn now, and they do it. That's because they haven't learned how to observe the thought. The thought is either an angel or a demon, and that thought that they're having that they then act on is a dark entity feeding off of their energy. Okay, that's how it works. When you act on your thoughts that are not in alignment with the highest aspects of who you are, your energy goes somewhere. In other words, your action generates honey, if you will, and then those entities are like, yay, we got food from them. And to them, it's like a buffet of energy. Okay? So whenever you speak, make sure that you're speaking to construct new realities, not to feed old ones, because the truth is the old ones, they're obsolete now. New Earth is already here. She's ascended. All right? You can walk out every day and experience a wonderful reality. That's not to say bad things won't happen, but they're really not bad when you're operating from that space of the fifth dimension and higher. If anything, they're a privilege. They're an offering from the universe, because it's pretty much showing you that you still have a program to clear or break down. So, I like to kind of simplify everything as like my thoughts are either angels or demons, and I get to choose if I'm going to feed that higher vibrational existence or feed the lower hellacious or the purgatory. And if you feed those hellacious thoughts, then you're going to experience a lot of turmoil in your life, a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow. But if you can start to really bring awareness to everything that you're about to say, that's a step in the right direction. Now, if you've managed to not speak negatively, but you still have negative thoughts, then it's just a matter of going within yourself and kind of reconfiguring the way that you think, reorganizing your thoughts. So flipping every negative thought and seeing the message in it. What is this thought trying to tell me? So it could be something like, oh, I'm mad at this person right now. What is this showing me about myself? Why are these things? Why are these feelings surfacing in me? What is trying to be shown to me so that I can now upgrade my spiritual software into the newest version of the software? So, abracadabra. Your words. You truly create as you speak. I guess that's the message for today. But don't discredit people who are creating drama. And remember that their reality is valid. All right? Their higher self is floating above them. And when they attract enough drama, they're eventually going to say, I'm tired of this. And that's when they're going to link up with their higher self and say, I'm done. I want to opt out of this game. And I'm ready to collapse that reality of drama. I'm ready to fully move up into a higher reality. And then you could say that drama was needed. It was needed to show them what they needed to shift about themselves so that they can shift out and into a new reality, shift out of the old and into the new. The other advice that I can give you guys, and this applies to me, everything that I share is something that I've either gone through or I'm going through. The other thing that I want to share is don't get overly involved with other people's journeys if you have an idea of how they should be behaving, of what they should be doing, because the drama that they're creating or the anything negative that they're creating, that's their own journey, and we have to respect the soul. We all have free choice. And just like angels can't interfere with our journey unless we ask, unless we send them an open and formal invitation to always assist us on our journey, we have to start assuming that angelic role. All right. And I'm just using angelic because we want to start operating from that higher dimensional reality where it's like that person is choosing this right now. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, they are choosing it. And the best way that I can honor them is to let them go through their own process. Because we have a tendency to get too engaged with people. And in a way, when we do that, that's just our own pain that is playing out. It's the part of us that's like, we're trying to control it, all right? Because it makes us, in a way, it makes us uncomfortable to see them go through what we might have gone through, and we want to save them, and that's not our job, all right? Just like it wasn't someone else's job to save you, you found yourself because you created enough pain to say, enough. I don't want to go through this anymore. I don't want to keep perpetuating this cycle because it's hurting me. So try not to get too involved and interfere with other people's journeys. I call it the law of non-interference. It's something I came up with myself, where just like angels can't interfere unless we ask, don't interfere unless people ask. Because if anything, you're going to add to your own karma. And that's going to set you back on your journey. That's going to impede on your own evolvement. The best way to help people is to be the example, to exemplify what it means to live in that divine space. And then you're going to start radiating out such a beautiful and bright aura that people are going to be like, whoa, what is it about that person? I want some of that magic. And they will come up to you personally and say, hey, can you help me? That's the best way you can do it. But you're creating more change by holding what you know and throwing it in your back pocket and saying nothing at all, because that in itself, like, you know how we were talking about the thoughts? If you have a thought that someone shouldn't be doing something or they're hurting themselves, just by holding the thought, it emits a certain frequency. It emits a frequency in the subconscious, if you will. And when people are ready to awaken from their slumber, they're going to be like, whoa, I think Phil knows something about me, or I think Joanna knows something about me, and I want to ask what that is. So be that light bearer, be that light worker, be that energy, be that light holder, if you will. Hold that light within you, and know that if and when you want to interfere, that's your own stuff, because they're on a perfect journey. Whether you agree with it or not, if you don't agree with it and you want to interfere, that's your control. You're trying to control it. You have an idea of that you know better than them, that you know what steps they should take. But really, they're creating, and they're going to keep creating until they get sick of it. So yes, let's start being deliberate creators of our reality. Let's start speaking positively, authentically, in a state of empowerment. And I'm telling you, you're going to catapult into amazing realities. So that's the message.